Hey there, good morning. Happy Wednesday at 7:30 right here on Breakfast with Bridgett on News 6 Plus and clickorlando.com. I'm your host, Bridgett Ellison. Hope you're having a good morning so far. Waking up a little bit chilly, not quite as bad as yesterday, and we're going to warm up nicely. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegis is here getting us weather-wise at 7:30 today in for
There you
Camden.
go.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning, Bridgett. How are you?
All right. We are troubleshooting my earphones, so I'm going to play around with that while you're talking.
Keep on troubleshooting. Love technology for sure. Yeah, you mentioned it. Cool start to the day. We're back to the 50s and 60s across the board. Even had a couple of 40s. You mentioned it, though, warmer than yesterday. So we're starting that gradual climb back up into the 80s again. We have warmth coming. The good news is, I mean, 'tis the season for this perfect weather. I think it's the best weather in the country. Maybe not the world, but it's going to be hard to compete with temperatures in the low to mid 80s, low humidity, lots of sunshine, perfect weather again over the course of the next couple of days. I want to show you a live look outside now. This is going to be in downtown Orlando. Look at those beautifully blue skies. We're hanging around 60 degrees right now. Temperatures, again, off to a cool start. Look at this. We've slipped into the 40s now in DeLeon Springs as well. We did have the upper 40s in Palm Coast. We've warmed back to around 50 now. 54 in Daytona Beach, Claremont, Groveland. Shout out into Montverde as well. We're back to the mid-50s. Bushnell, good morning. We're hanging in the low 50s. Same for us in Nobleton in the Villages. Over the next few hours, I mean, perfect warm-up. 70 by 10, 77 by lunchtime. Great day for lunch outside. Lower 80s by 2 o'clock. And we will continue to keep the clear skies rolling. All right. All of this is thanks to this big chunk of high pressure that's hanging off of our coast right now. It's going to continue to keep the breeze out of the east, off of the Atlantic, and push everything inland. Now, some people may be waking up to the smell of smoke. We certainly had it very, very strong late last afternoon into the evening hours from a couple of controlled burns that were along the coast, and then that area of high pressure pushing them inland because of the clear skies and calm winds brought on by that chunk of high pressure right there. We are kind of keeping everything trapped. We call this a temperature inversion. When you have those clear skies, calm winds, all of the warmth kind of escapes the ground very, very quickly. It makes a nice little sliver of warmer air right above the surface, and that acts as a lid, and it keeps all of that smoke trapped near the surface. So that is why that smoke from yesterday's controlled burns are still lingering across a lot of Central Florida this morning. So if you're wondering why it's still kind of smoky or hazy out because of those wildfires, or I guess controlled fires, to help with the wildfire situation or potential wildfire situation, that is why. Future radar, again, a whole lot of nothing. You see the clouds kind of doing a little dance across your screen. That's really all she wrote there. And the same kind of deal, not only for tomorrow, but for the next couple of days. Look at that, low to mid 80s today. We're back in that ballpark again tomorrow, all because of this. Look at that dry air. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's all that orange and red. That is the dry air in the mid-levels of our atmosphere. That is what is going to keep our dry days rolling. Look at that, mid to upper 80s for us. Magic back in town tomorrow if you're heading down. We need some of that good home cooking because they have not looked the best over the last couple of days.
Yeah.
So hopefully getting back in front of the home crowd for the first time in several years, going to let us spark and get this series tied up by the end of the weekend.
I like your enthusiasm and the hope, and I just, we got to believe in magic, Jonathan.
You have to believe it. My dad always says it. Well, everybody really says it. The sports analyst. It's not a series until somebody loses at home, and we haven't been home yet. So let's just do the same thing they did to us: win 2 at home, and then take it to Cleveland tied again.
Yeah, it's part of the strategy. It's part of the drama. Because a series,
it's not worth winning if there's not adversity, right?
That's right.
There you go.
It has to be hard fought.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and at least nice temperatures to get out, get some work done.
Oh, it's perfect.
Enjoy some outdoor activities, some golf, whatever.
Window opening weather.
Yeah, it's really
great
lovely.
Stuff.
Have lunch
Absolutely,
outside.
Bridgett.
Yeah, and dinner.
Yeah.
So
love it.
The grill going. Yes, we love it. All right. Well, thanks, Jonathan.
You got it.
Crossed.
Thank you, Bridgett.
Go Magic.
Go Magic.
All right. See you soon. Going to check in with Trooper Steve and see how things are looking on the roads. He's out in Results 1, getting ready for his on-patrol duties. So what's up?
Not a whole lot. I just had a shot of cafecito.
Oh,
I
it's
am
ready.
ready to rock and roll. Things are looking pretty good this morning, but
Oh, I have
today,
some.
one of my, oh, yeah, see?
Marcus put it off so
Marcus
far off to the
delivered.
side. Thank you, Marcus.
Yeah. I came in, I gave him a shout out during that cut in because, man, anybody who's making the morning team cafecito, they know what's up. They know what's
Hmm.
up. So today, Bridget, my favorite day of the month, I get to hang out with dogs again.
I can't wait.
So we're headed out to Orange County Animal Services. This time, I don't even know who the
Okay.
fur baby I'm meeting today,
So this is a mystery
but it doesn't
surprise.
matter. It is. It doesn't matter because they all deserve amazing
Yeah.
homes. I know you are also trying to find a home for a dog that's in your
Yeah.
community as well.
Yeah.
So, of course, this is what we do. We share our platform
Hmm.
with other local organizations so that we together can work as a team and really get results for the
Yeah.
community. So,
It's a real
this
deal
is
too.
pretty exciting. It
It's a
is a
real
real
deal.
deal.
Hmm.
You go in, you can find a dog, and instead of hopping online and paying thousands of dollars, you're going in to find a dog that one is locked up somewhere and just needs a home. And
Hmm.
sometimes it's free. Sometimes they waive the fees, but you're going to spend less than 50 bucks coming into this place. So join me today at clickorlando.com, and that is going to happen today at 10
10.
a.m. So
Nice.
really excited about that. Jonathan, real quick, was talking about something before we hopped on breakfast with you. We need to find
Hmm.
you a breakfast sponsor because
Mm.
breakfast with Bridget without
I
beignets
know. I'm
or out
having
bagels.
soup today.
Oh,
It's good
all
though. It's
right.
this
Okay.
tomato Campbell's. Well, yes, it's supposed to have
It's like a
extra
soup in a cup.
vegetables. Yeah, it's
It looks like it's a
tomato
cup.
and sweet basil. Yeah, little.
That sounds
It's
delicious.
really good. Hmm.
Man, that's
Not
real
sponsored.
convenient. So
Hmm.
not sponsored at all. We just like to give little shout outs for the things that we like to eat. But let's check on the roads real
All
quick.
right.
Our traffic cameras and stuff showing things are getting better. So Princeton and Orange Blossom Trail right now, we did have a crash there. Orlando Police Department got out there super fast for us this morning and cleared that up. Downtown Orlando, that sun is so bright. It is so beautiful. My truck's reading 61 degrees. So if you're headed out and hit some traffic, roll the windows down because it's nice out there. Your drive time's not bad this morning. 28 minutes, Osceola Parkway to downtown Orlando, 23 from the opposite direction in Seminole County. Earlier this morning, we had a crash out on I-4 east of 27. So that's going to be west of Champions Gate. It helped us out for a little bit, but once they cleared it up, now we're back with our delays out there. So please be careful. We are bumper to bumper from 27 all the way up to Champions Gate. And then two crashes now out on the west side. I've got one here at US 192 at West Side Boulevard and one just north of there at Hartzog and Avalon. So this is all residential, kind of rural residential. So please be careful as Hartzog is reported with lane blockage. We did have a crash on the turnpike this morning around the 242 down in Kissimmee at 192. That is now clear. So now we're just dealing with those normal delays on 192 in Kissimmee as people kind of go past Parton Settlement Road and the tax collector's office down there. The airport looking nice this morning. 528, not a delay anywhere, but those delays are existing south of there along Boggy Creek Road, Simpson, Narcoossee, all routine delays. So nothing that is out of the ordinary. Brevard County, good morning to you guys. Always behaving. It's always the most behaved county. Volusia, we did have a crash north of 44 in Samsula off of Pioneer Trail and Sandberg Lane. Looks like they cleared that out. Believe it or not, that is a residential rural community. And your drive times right now across Central Florida looking pretty good this morning. Before I leave you, Bridget, I do want to plug one quick thing.
Hmm.
If people head over to clickorlando.com, I talk about the power of a moment a lot
Hmm.
and the ability that we have as people to create moments for other people. And I got an amazing interaction with a JetBlue Airlines employee when I was on a trip a few
Yeah.
weeks ago that she did not have to do.
Hmm.
And it really made me feel seen in an environment on an aircraft where we all tend to be fairly invisible. And it was a pretty amazing experience, something I'll never forget. So I encourage people to head over to clickorlando.com and check out that web article because that flight attendant deserves the utmost attention. So that's all I got.
They have a great crew. They really made me feel special my birthday one time a couple years ago,
Good,
and I just wasn't expecting
good.
that at all. So that's awesome. Well, thanks, Trooper Steve.
Have a good one.
You too. See you soon with the pets at 10 too. All right, we want to get to a little bit of news, and then we're going to talk about coping with the testing season and all that stress with our students from elementary to college age. But first, Mark Lehman has the latest on a big foreign aid package just passed in the Senate last night, headed to the president's desk. There's also a ban on TikTok with some stipulations in that package. Here's Mark.
Those in Congress who stand on the side of democracy are winning the day.
A wide-ranging foreign aid package was passed in the U.S. Senate late last night, the measure bringing in funding for Ukraine as Russia's invasion force is advancing.
The foreign aid contained in this bill is an important part of telegraphing America's refusal to cede the global stage to hostile powers.
The $95.3 billion bipartisan package includes $60 billion for Ukraine and $26 billion for Israel and humanitarian assistance. The bill's passing through the House and Senate despite a small but growing number of conservative hardliners.
Instead of debating legislation to close the border and fix the economy, we're about to send billions of dollars to one of the most corrupt countries in the world.
The package also includes a potential ban on the Chinese-controlled social media app TikTok. It would give parent company ByteDance 270 days to sell the app. Otherwise, it would keep TikTok out of U.S. app stores. Supporters saying the app gives the Chinese government potential access to personal data of Americans. Critics, however, say the ban would hurt free speech.
We'll keep you posted on what happens with that there. But now we want to get to Dr. Treshonda Baucom from Enriched Life Counseling. It's good to have her back on Breakfast with Bridgett this morning. Good morning, Dr. Baucom.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited about this topic of testing season and healthy ways to help students cope with that stress. And so from your standpoint, who is affected by testing stress? Is it all ages? Who's impacted the most?
Yeah, absolutely. Being a professor and a counselor, I see a wide range of ages, and I would like to say that all ages are affected. Obviously, they have different testing. So for college students, it might be final exams that are happening this week. And for school-aged children, it might be things such as the SAT, ACT, or the upcoming FAST testing that they have.
Yes. And so what are the variety of things that you see exhibited because of the pressure from these tests? Because you're right, like fast testing is going on, but like you said, at the college level, they've got a lot of finals and things going on as well. So this exhibits itself in many ways.
Yes, stress can affect how we feel, how we think, and how we behave. So you may see different emotions and feelings exhibited, such as irritability, anxiousness, worriness, tired, fatigue. You may hear them saying things out loud like, I'm never going to pass this grade. I'm going to fail this exam. There's not enough time. I can't even remember. Labeling themselves. That could be harmful as well. You might even see different behaviors, such as overstudying, avoiding studying, again, arguing with the irritability. So there's different things, and it doesn't look the same for everyone. But just knowing that there's a difference from their normal way of thinking, feeling, and behaving, and stress causes a change in that.
And so let's start with the school age, like elementary age students, and work our way up. What do you do to sort of check in with them and then give them some guidance on, how to make sure they're ready and feeling positive?
Yeah, so I would just check in and ask how they feel about the upcoming test. I would ask if they feel prepared for it, because sometimes you may see them a change in behavior or mood. And so that intense worrying, oftentimes you'll hear from parents with the younger ones, like they don't care about the test. They're not even studying. And it's not that they don't care, but sometimes too much stress can cause them to just shut down and avoid preparing because they already feel like they're not going to be successful in it. So it's this layer of embarrassment as well with that.
Okay. And so how do you turn that around? Because, sometimes certain personalities might be a little more intensely worried, and then, like you said, some may say, "Oh, I'm not worried about it," but actually, maybe they do need to be more prepared. How can you figure that out?
Yeah. So again, we look at how intense it is and how it is affecting them, but we can turn it around by helping them reframe or, get their point across by saying it in a different way. So instead of saying, I suck at this subject. I don't feel prepared for this subject. So a different way of saying what they're trying to get across that's not so intense on our thoughts and feelings. We can also practice different strategies. So I always like to suggest creating a testing environment that includes time and sitting at a desk, and so that you can prepare and know what it feels like to be in that environment. So that's already one layer that we remove. Um, we can have study time. We can create worry time. So an identified time that we can worry about this. But it's also important to note that when students are stressing about the test, it's the stress that they have with leading up to the test. It's the stress that they experience the day of the test. And it's also stressful waiting for your results.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a multi-layer that could look different in each of those different segments. That is important because some only think about the actual day of, but people could be stressed months before the test, day of the test, and then who knows how long you have to wait for the results. And so that's still nerve wracking, especially when things such as getting into your preferred college is there, going to the next grade with all your friends, obtaining your degree. And so it's just this dynamic of all these important factors and things that we want to meet is so tied into this one thing.
Yeah. How can we also loop in the parents? Because I don't want to let them off the hook. Sometimes parents can also create more intensity than there needs to be around some of these things. How can we sort of make sure that we're keeping our emotions in check and not sort of, giving secondhand anxiety over to the kids, because we want them to do well too?
Yes. And I love that you say that because anxious parents create anxious kids, and calm parents can create calm kids. So our nervous systems talk to each other and can mimic and reflect what another is thinking or feeling. So it's important that we can also check our own emotions and be able to relay calm, to relay support and understanding to our kids too.
Okay. And what about in terms of, you know, what to say, what not to say, or, just making sure that it's, in the right light, but also, taking
Yeah.
responsibility and being hands on, not too relaxed.
Yes. So I would say some of those have this fine line of what's too much or what's not enough. But we want to make sure that we are giving them time for breaks and relaxation. Sometimes in this moment, like we would pull away all the fun activities for kids and just make them focus on testing.
Mm-hmm.
And kids need a break and relax time as well. And so just setting up an identified amount of time to study and prepare for that test each day is helpful. Also, watching our language, I always like to say all or nothing language can be very harmful. So it's like, if you don't do good on this test, you won't pass this grade. It's like, don't say that because that's what they're already feeling and thinking. And there are other things that would allow them to pass, such as portfolios in the school system. So there are alternatives when sometimes we don't like to focus on those. We just like to put that extended pressure on. And sometimes some people don't do well with pressure. They can actually shut down and that dorsal vagal nerve can collapse, which impacts our thinking and memory. And so sometimes you'll also hear that they're such a smart student. I know they can do it, but this test isn't reflecting their abilities. And some kids just have texting anxiety and cannot always show what they know on an actual time test.
And when it comes to our older students, they're managing other things, other responsibilities. How do they find balance and have a successful plan towards finals and exams and managing all the other things that are going on in their lives?
Yes. So for my college students, I always tell them to play around in their grade book because they could put kind of mock grades and see what they need to get a grade that they want for the end of the semester. They can also meet with their professor to talk about their challenges because they too can get accommodations such as extended time for that test if the pressure of the time is impacting them, or to talk through what else can be done to make sure that they are successful and address their concerns.
You mentioned accommodations, and I wanted to talk about that too because there's that option there. How do we figure out if that's something we need to explore with our child or, as a young adult student?
Yeah. So if you hear the teacher and or the child discussing like what they are struggling with, that is something good to bring up to the teacher and or the staffing specialist or representative at the school to discuss, ways that we can help and ensure our child is successful. Because there's lots of things that a child could receive in school through a 504 or IEP that will allow them to have those accommodations and needed help for them to be successful on those exams or tests.
And in your office, I'm sure it comes up because there's that delicate balance of admitting that maybe there's some extra assistance needed, and then maybe parents feel a certain way about that, and then the student may feel a certain way about that. How do you work with talking them through that and coming to a place where they know if that's right for them?
Yeah. So oftentimes the teacher would trial some of the accommodations in class on things that don't require it being on paper. So they have kind of that knowledge to give the parents like, hey, I've already just been pulling them aside separate from the group and allowing them to take it in a small group. And that's been really helpful. We could see a difference. Or I've broken this test down in chunks for the students to allow them to be able to focus. And so it's really being open and being willing to have that discussion. And sometimes, telling parents it's not about what worked best for you, but it's what's working for this child that will help them be successful. And sometimes people see it as a crutch, but in reality, it's a supplement to assist them. Sometimes we need something a little bit different to be successful in different areas of our life.
And do those accommodations always come with a diagnosis necessarily, or, some sort of disorder or anything that has to be diagnosed?
No, not all the time, especially on a 504 plan. But again, that's conversations and things that you could go through with the school and teacher. And I think that is one of the biggest things. Like, I don't want to label my kid with anything. But I also can see that they're struggling. And so if a kid continues to struggle, then it will have emotional impacts, right? So it will start to affect their self-esteem and their confidence and their behaviors and their moods. And so sometimes we think it's just one thing, but they all interact with each other and influence each other.
How can you encourage people to explore, maybe talking to a therapist with their child and, exploring, finding out if there's something else going on if they can't get through to them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I always say that, therapists are trained to, especially if they work with children, to work with children on their level in a way that would allow them to express and work towards common goals. I think sometimes the issue is we try to use adult language with children and that pressure to make them understand in our way when they need a different way of processing it and understanding. And they also need their own space and support as well.
Awesome.
So I would just encourage them to reach out, to try something. It doesn't always have to come with a label, but it's just like if they were having vision problems, we'll go to a doctor who works with eyes. And so we have specialists who work emotions, feelings, and behaviors. And they too will support you on how to work, maneuver, and address those things at home as well.
And what's the youngest patient you see? What's the age range you work with?
Yeah, the youngest patient I see is 4 years old.
Mhm. So there's
Yeah.
there's a lot of opportunities to sort of explore, talking about those feelings and finding healthy ways to manage, little emotions, big emotions.
Yes, I always like to say the earlier that you can work with it is the best because that's when they're forming, they're understanding, they're forming their coping skills, the tools that they'll use. And so the longer that you wait, then we have to go back and undo a lot of those things. And so sometimes it's like, no, they'll learn as they get older. It's like, yeah, but we'll also have to undo a lot.
And how can we reach you, Dr. Baucom?
Yes. So our office number is 407-593-4500. You can also visit our website at www.enrichedlifecounseling.com.
All right. Well, it's good to have you again, and I hope all the students do well out there, and this hopefully helps some people with some better ideas to cope with that stress.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Have a great day.
You as well.
All right, that's going to do it for us this morning. I'm going to turn it over to Weatherwise up next with Jonathan Kegas, and then Trooper Steve is on patrol right here on News 6 Plus. I'll see you at noon on WKMG News 6 at noon, and we'll see you back here tomorrow at 7:30. Have a great day.